Disclaimer. This video is a product of something I've been working on since March of 2025, so the mic quality does abruptly change during this video. With that out of the way, enjoy the video. Hello everybody, Mr. Titan here. There are few if any fictional properties I love more than that of SpongeBob SquarePants. And while rewatching some of the best episodes from the first few seasons, it gave me the idea to make this ranking video. And while some have ranked every pre-movie episode, that being seasons 1 to 3, every episode up to the Best Day Ever marathon in 2006, and even every single episode up to the modern day in one go, I've decided to take a more unique and personal route of ranking the first 100 episodes, or the first 196 segments, ranking them from worst to best as those were the batch of episodes I grew up with. I must give a disclaimer that this ranking is nothing more than my personal opinion, so I apologize in advance if an episode you really like is relatively low on my list. Now without further ado, sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, soda, and pickled garlic, and get ready for the first 100 episodes of SpongeBob ranked. Let's do this. At 196, we have what is, in my opinion, the worst SpongeBob episode of the first 5 seasons, A Flea in Her Dome. Yeah, I really don't like this episode. The design of the fleas are gross, and even more so when they multiply, giving us a disgusting dark brown color scheme. Ugh. And the visual gag of the flea going behind Sandy's eye and scratching is nothing short of creepy as fuck and does not help my phobia of bugs. There are some positive aspects though, believe it or not. I like the montage of SpongeBob and Patrick setting up Sandy's welcome home party, and the music that played during that scene made it feel like a cozy classic moment. And there were a few jokes I liked from Patrick.
I drawed a horsey.
And this line delivery from Bill Fagerbaki was amazing.
So much pain! So much pain!
And while I liked the defeat of the fleas, it gave us an ending that reminded me how weird I find Season 5 in comparison to the 4 that came before it. You're probably going to hear me note that with other Season 5 episodes as the list goes on.
It sure is good to have you back, Sandy.
At 195, we have Fungus Among Us. Yeah, the problems with this episode are very similar to the one below it. The grotesque design of SpongeBob when the it gets too bad, the customers eating it, Patrick's recklessness and stupidity being at an all-time high, there not even being any memorable jokes this time around. I will say though, the premise was unique and interesting enough for me to not go bored, and the ending gave us a decently satisfying resolution. I put this above A Flea in Her Dome because I'd much rather watch an episode with Green Ick as the conflict than skin bugs. That said, that's the highest I can honor it.
Look, Care, you made me all sparkly. You're the best bottom feeder a sponge could ever have.
At 194, we have The Gift of Gum. Spoiler alert, I really like Season 4, but not this episode. Like, what did they smoke to make this episode? Patrick gives SpongeBob a giant used gumball for Best Friends Day, and we get nice close-ups of artifacts within the gum like moldy pizza. Ugh. And did the underwear slithering up to SpongeBob scare anyone else as a kid? Because now it just makes me question what drugs they were on. And the fact that there were 8 fish trapped within the gum for God knows how long, coupled together with the equally disgusting and what the fuck ending? Yeah, not the best way to end off one of my favorite seasons. Now let's move on before I have to waste any more brain power thinking about this episode.
Wow! This is the best Friends Day ever!
Next up, we have another one from Season 5, Spongehenge. As a kid, I found this episode to be one of the weirdest SpongeBob episodes, and over 15 years later, nothing's changed honestly. I think it mainly has to do with the sound editing, more specifically the song, which, while catchy, solidifies that weird, unnerving feeling. The conflict of the wind and jellyfish not allowing SpongeBob to get to work was also an annoying one and led to moments of, I don't want to use this term a lot, but might anyway, unnecessary SpongeBob torture. Patrick's also an unsupportive jerk with no plot relevance. The episode once again isn't funny. And when SpongeBob heads back to the Krusty Krab only to find it buried in sand and abandoned, that made it go from weird to depressing and just made me feel bad for poor SpongeBob. And the time skip to the future was out of place as hell, and the only reason I can think as to why it was there was to hone in on the Stonehenge reference. After all that downer shit, I think I should list the positives. I don't have a lot. I found the transition from night to day to be rather wholesome. I also found SpongeBob using the wind to his aid to make Krabby Patties before he gets separated from the Krusty Krab to be quite amusing, as well as the little reference to suds.
My fingers are too big for the buttons. My fingers are too big for the buttons.
Speaking of suds, someone made a good point actually. If SpongeBob really wanted to escape the jellyfish, he could have just plugged up his holes like he did in that episode. Would have been an easy fix. But yeah, although this episode isn't at the very bottom, if I were ranking it based solely on satisfaction and nothing else, it'd definitely be my least favorite. And now that damn song's stuck in my head. At 192, we have All That Glitters. Yeah, it's not the best sign when SpongeBob starts scream-crying not even a minute into the episode for over 40 seconds. And him giving up his clothes, leaving him completely nude for the rest of the second half was just a weird choice. And all for a fancy replacement spatula that turns out to be a snobbish jerk that runs out on him. And SpongeBob's spatula being sentient outside of a few second joke felt a little too cartoony, even for a show like SpongeBob. I will say though, for all its faults, I was surprisingly emotionally invested over SpongeBob losing his spatula, and the montage along with the music that played during it was easily the best part of the episode. Classic moment right there. I also like the joke about the Doctor being an actor trying to get a role but failing in the end, and I'm always a sucker for a title drop.
All that glitters is not gold.
He said it! He said it!
And the ending was alright. As far as bottom episodes go, this episode was a hell of a lot better than the ones under it. Guess it's only up from here.
1, 2, 3.
Next up, we have the Battle of Bikini Bottom. Now, before I get into it, what do you think of when you hear that title? Maybe you think of the video game that has a similar name? Maybe an episode of Mr. Krabs and Plankton battling it out? Maybe you even think about one of those time period specials they did around this time, showcasing a great war that happened in Bikini Bottom. Well, it's not like those at all. Instead, it's an episode about SpongeBob and Patrick battling over clean versus dirty. That's it. I always forget about this episode when it comes to the first 5 seasons. The worst it does is gross out and being that forgettable despite the title. Other than that, I've got nothing to say about this episode. This is probably the least I'll have to say about an episode. Coming in at 190, we have To Love a Patty. This episode. I seriously put this episode above 6 other episodes. Like, this is easily the worst episode of the first 5 seasons. Take everything I said about the gift of gum and apply it here. Like, what redeeming quality could convince me to put this episode above the 6 previously mentioned? It's the song. I like the song too much.
Oh baby, I love you so strong. That's why I'm singing this song.
Okay, going off script for a second. I got a new phone during the production of this video, so from here on out, the audio quality should sound crisper. Let's get back to it. Wigstruck. Right off the gate, this episode has a negative and mean-spirited vibe against SpongeBob and Ned. Not too bad, but enough to turn me off. And I could have done without seeing the hairs from the wig fall into the Krabby Patties, and Mr. Krabs' eyes, and the spiders crawling through the... Jeez, who thought of this? There were some gags I liked, such as Patrick's weekly condiment soak and some dialogue exchanges between SpongeBob and Squidward.
Notice anything different about me today, Squidward? Huh?
Nope.
See, Squidward, it's functional too.
It's about as functional as your brain.
Thank you, Squidward.
That wasn't a compliment!
And Ned and SpongeBob both get something of happy ending, so it wasn't too bad of an experience. Patrick is just a huge jerk in this episode when the power of being a descendant of royalty goes to his head. Stealing food, a guy's comic book collection, mistreating SpongeBob, moving Squidward's house via a crane. At least he realizes he's become such a jerk at the end and returns the crown. And I like the family tree gag, even if it may have been retconned by the Patrick Star Show. And hey, this episode made it canon that Patrick and Gary are cousins.
Gary, you're royalty! Mom?
Can we also take a moment to note how Patrick owns a book titled How to Read? At 187, we have Good Neighbors. Okay, switching things up by going over the positives first. The animation and art direction are wonderful here. and just getting it out of the way now so I don't repeat myself too much. Season 4, more specifically a lot of the episodes in the earlier and middle parts, are some of the best the show has looked in my opinion, only beaten by Season 3. As for the plot, the episode has a pretty good start that's on par with the episodes that came before it. But unfortunately, it soon gets bad as Squidward begins to receive what might be the first example of unfair Squidward torture, by getting his eyes burnt by paint and taken to the hospital, causing him to miss his pedicure. Despite being the sympathetic figure though, I find myself rooting for SpongeBob and Patrick due to Squidward's amped up temper and insanity. But above all, the security system takes control of Squidward's house and begins attacking the city, leaving the mayor to give Squidward community service for the damage he caused, even though SpongeBob and Patrick were in his house the whole fucking time and were responsible for everything. Gah! Fuck this episode! But seriously though, I didn't really have a tier list in mind when making this ranking initially, but this episode would be the highlight of the F tier. Not good, but surely not the worst. I mean, hell, I just talked about 9 episodes that are worse than it. I think the hate for it is overblown. First episode going into the D tier is Rise and Shine. Yeah, this is just a mid-season 5 short. No pros, no cons, just the most boring the show has ever been.
It's Bikini Bottom Live!
Patrick! You can't watch that while the cameras are rolling. This is a kid's show. Next up is The Donut of Shame. This is another shortened in length episode from Season 5. The season really liked doing that for some reason. But yeah, while this episode had a few amusing gags and a heartwarming moment towards the end, they did not need to make SpongeBob and Patrick eat the donut after everything Patrick had done to it. What's with these lower episodes and having characters eat gross food? At least in stuff like Nasty Patty, the health inspector didn't actually eat the Nasty Patty, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. Squidtastic Voyage. Yup, this is a body horror episode, with Squidward getting the reed of his clarinet stuck in his throat, damage being inflicted to Squidward's brain presumably, SpongeBob and Patrick growing Sandy's submarine to normal size while still inside Squidward. Patrick's stupidity is also far more destructive than it is amusing here. On the flip side, he does have a moment of brilliance that leads to him and SpongeBob getting up to the esophagus, so I guess it's balanced. And I like how SpongeBob utilized his dance move from earlier in the episode to cut the reed, and other miscellaneous stuff like this possible reference to SB-129.
Oh, Squidward, you swallowed your clarinet again!
But yeah, pretty low episode otherwise, as I'm not a fan of body horror. I do have to give credit where credit is due. At this point in the show, a creative idea like this was needed, but at a cost, it's really, really gross. I like the Mr. Magic commercial and the montage of SpongeBob spending time with Ice Cream Squidward, but it did utilize one of my least favorite tropes of making a character unbelievably oblivious. Like, come on, you can see him get up and leave through your peripheral vision, but other than that, this episode's just there. The only thing I really liked here was the reference to the remaining runtime of the episode. But speaking of the runtime, this episode's only 4 minutes, and if I manage to get bored in that amount of time, that's a problem. Yes, this is the short where the torture Squidward device appears in. I like how they gave SpongeBob a proper pajama design with this episode. As for the plot, I get wanting a nightlight, mostly for atmospheric purposes, but SpongeBob acts way too childish for my liking. That face in the freezer fucking terrified me as a kid though, so I guess it's somewhat justified. I also really love how Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy appeared in this episode despite not having their namesake. Easily the highlight of the episode.
Too much light! Too much light! Oh, ho, ho.
Driven to Tears. Another episode where Patrick is a smartass jerk, and it honestly makes me feel bad for SpongeBob's inability to get his driver's license. At least the ending's kinda cute, I guess. This episode's alright. Not to be overly dramatic, but I can confirm that during the production of this video, I died from listening to Patrick's song. But I possessed my body to finish this video for you guys. Now let's move on before the song ends me again.
Oh, twinkle, twinkle, Patrick, stop!
The premise for this episode is a good one. The Krusty Krab is forced into closure by Karen, to which Mr. Krab secretly sells Krabby Patties at SpongeBob's house. That said, I feel like if this episode was produced before season 5, it would have worked a lot better. The song was also pretty obnoxious and isn't winning this episode any points. Nothing to say here except that I love the sheer chaos SpongeBob commits all over a stain on a plate. And this is the first season 5 short that I actually found fun and interesting the whole way through. It gets my seal of approval. You know, Mini Squidward is cute and all, but what if I told you he actually appears all the way back in the season 1 episode The Paper? This episode doesn't do it for me. Everything goes wrong for SpongeBob when all he wants is a nice picture for picture day, and this leads to an ending that only cements the weirdness of season 5 to me. Squirrel jokes. Oh, our first pre-movie episode. Despite it having problems, what a refreshing break from all the post-movie. Yeah, SpongeBob was a jerk for choosing the squirrel jokes over his friendship with Sandy, but her revenge was overkill. That said, it's still a season 2 episode with that early writing style, so it wraps up nicely with SpongeBob coming up with a good compromise of making fun of himself as well as the audience.
Soap, what is soap?
Next up is another season 5 episode, Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. Other than the special being overly mean-spirited for what the average episode of SpongeBob is, I just found it to be the weirdest SpongeBob episode. I'm mostly saying that because I first watched this with a fever as a kid, but even over a decade later, something about it just feels like a pure fever dream. I'm with Stupid, another one from season 2. I know some people hate this episode, but I just thought it was weak, especially when compared to the highs of the pre-movie era. Despite that though, it does have quite a bit to like, such as some good jokes.
Hey, a note!
Yeah, but turn it over. There's a letter.
You're right.
And I got this message from my parents.
And the twist was solid and unexpected.
Oh, that's right, honey. We don't have a son.
Oh, yeah.
This episode was fun. Squidward gets fed up with SpongeBob's laugh and tricks him into thinking his laugh box is breaking. And it had that early season 4 art style I love. Though this was kind of the point where SpongeBob started to act more like a child than a naive adult, and it's hard not to notice. Another fun episode with an experimental premise. The Flying Dutchman grants Mr. Krabs the ability to communicate with money. And the shorter runtime works perfectly here because if this was a full 11-minute episode, I feel it would have run out of steam. Also, fun ending.
You too, SpongeBob?
He was $5 short on payday.
To save a squirrel. I love the element of SpongeBob and Patrick growing paranoid of each other while trying to survive in a cave. But other than that, this episode was just alright. Fun fact, this was the last episode to use pencils. Every episode after this used Wacom Cintiq to draw up the show's animation. Considering the advancing technology and how stiff the show looked at this point anyway, I think that was the right move. And coincidentally, the next episode is the first episode to use the Wacom Cintiqs, Pest of the West. I think the premise of SpongeBob wanting to learn about a famous ancestor of his was a good setup for this story. But it is pretty silly how all the ancestors are just self-inserts of the main characters. Just a small nitpick though.
Maybe one day people will know the name SpongeBob SquarePants.
Next up is Chimps Ahoy. There's quite a bit I like with this segment. The reference to the SpongeBob movie, Patrick's inventions, and Sandy's song being reminiscent of her Texas song from season 1. Speaking of season 1, SpongeBob's season 1 design makes an appearance. The chimps were out of place as hell next to SpongeBob and Patrick, but other than that, fine episode.
It may be the extreme head trauma I've suffered, but I am going to offer you a 20-year contract with a substantial pay rise.
This episode aired in 2006. Do you think they'll make a follow-up to this next year? I've always found this episode to be a very fun one. SpongeBob giving himself a black eye in a lame way, but telling everyone he got it after a fight with a guy from his dream named Jack M. Crazyfish, and the twist of him actually being real in the end. Fun episode. I can see why this is one of the more disdained episodes from pre-movie SpongeBob, with the themes of animal cruelty and Mr. Krabs reaching his lowest point at least until season 7. At least this episode has more crabs as a redeeming quality. Atlantis SquarePantis. Yeah, I feel this special gets more shit than it should. The Patchy segment at the beginning with Paul Tibbet looking at Patchy like he's nuts is hysterical. The Bubble song was easily the best song of the special and one of my personal favorite songs of the show. The 8-bit aesthetic when SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward and Sandy get transferred into the germ simulation was a nice change in the art direction, and the song that went along with it was one of the better songs from the special. And the use of paintings during Squidward's song was also visual eye candy, though the special would have worked a lot better if it was shorter. It did not need to be 40 minutes. And it's a shame that despite guest starring, the late David Bowie didn't get to sing. And coming in at the highlight of the D tier, The Thing. Yeah, Squidward is easy to feel bad for in this episode. He literally gets encased in cement and mistaken for a wild animal. The only reason it's this high is that Kelpie G's music is a vibe and Squidward gets a happy ending. And that was the D tier. I will admit, a lot of the episodes as the list went up were more worthy of being in the C tier, but spoiler alert, the C tier is full enough, and if it had to contain any more episodes, I think it would explode! But with that said, let's move on to the C tier. Starting off the C tier, we have the Pink Purloiner. I actually really love this episode. The designs for the jellyfish are a sight for sore eyes. It was very chill and simplistic for a post-movie episode, and it's got good plot, jokes, and dialogue.
It would really upset him if he found out.
Don't confess the bear! Don't confess the bear now! No!
I accidentally knocked SpongeBob's toothbrush into the toilet, and then I put it back on the counter without washing it. Confess a bear?
And the ending was funny and cute.
They do this all the time. I'm serious. Ugh, never mind.
Just an all-around fun episode. Best day ever. Despite not being original to this episode, the song is very good and memorable. But other than that, the episode was kind of unnecessary and didn't live up to the hype that was advertised. And stuff like Squidward performing to an audience that loves his clarinet playing and inviting SpongeBob as a VIP guest felt out of touch with the status quo. Or maybe they're just bros like that, I don't know. At least the ending was decent. Handsome Squidward. Nuff said. The pure insanity of Squidward stealing a random dude's wallet just to find out his name only for it to be the most hilariously ridiculous name ever is great. And all for a vacation that he doesn't even get to go to in the end is the cherry on top.
Hey, Squidward. Are cheesy?
Stanley S. Squarepants. Despite not being a well-liked one-time character, I found Stanley to be a fun character who I wouldn't mind returning in a later episode. For the last episode of the first 5 seasons though, it's not really finale worthy. Muscle Bob Buff Pants. 90s SpongeBob. Truly the most unique and chill the show's ever been. And it helps that this was the only season to use cell animation. But with that said, I think season 1 was the weakest of the first 3 seasons as it had the most unrefined writing style. This episode is a good example of that. It had some fun moments like SpongeBob imagining himself as Buff, but the plot kind of lost me and it wasn't very memorable compared to others. I can excuse it though, unlike season 5, because this was the first season. SpongeBob hadn't figured itself out yet. Also, back to accident-prone characters like Stanley from the last century, did anyone else feel bad for this guy? Slimy dancing. This episode is pretty damn slow until the cramp scene. The epilogue also made this episode somewhat memorable. Despite it having a pretty annoying start, the episode gets better soon enough, especially artistically. Tell me these paintings don't look like something straight from season 1. I also love it when they do the switch up of Squidward being the one annoying SpongeBob instead of vice versa. Krabs versus Plankton. Great twist on Mr. Krabs and Plankton's rivalry and just a great episode through and through. The courtroom is a nice new location and change of setting, and I love the court humor that came with it. Like the jury's reaction to Plankton pretending to be hurt and helpless.
Ow, ow, my widow arm! What? No, I didn't lay a claw on him! Ow, my other arm! Ow! He's lying!
SpongeBob representing Mr. Krabs after his original lawyer got injured was fun, and the resolution of SpongeBob getting the briefcase open and using the Krabby Patty inside it to win the case when all hope seemed lost was solid. The once good friend Mr. Krabs line also hits close after friend or foe. Coming in at 150, we have the Inmates of Summer. The premise of SpongeBob and Patrick going to a prison camp while thinking they're going to a summer camp is fun. It only gets funnier when they actually enjoy the prison camp and end up paying the actual summer camp at the end of the episode. Arlie Ermey gives a great performance, and it's even funnier when you remember he's usually in more R-rated media.
Who said that? Who the fuck said that? Who's the slimy little coming a shit twinkle-toed cocksucker down here who just signed his own death warrant.
The original Fry Cook. I always loved the lore gang expanded with Jim paying a visit to the Krusty Krab, but disliked how he was never referenced again in future episodes. I mean, he's the Fry Cook who worked there before SpongeBob, aka the events of the first episode. Seems like something that'd be worth acknowledging when necessary. SpongeBob and Patrick both being afraid to ride an extreme roller coaster was fun, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this was a premise held over from a previous season. I also love how they didn't let SpongeBob and Patrick just chicken out, meaning that after they come clean with each other, we get to see the ride in action after all the buildup. And as someone who's only been on a roller coaster once, I'd much rather watch a cartoon character ride a roller coaster than do it again. I don't really know what to say about this episode. It was just a fine episode of
SpongeBob!
This episode was fine, but I more so know it for the book that was based on it. Just a funny premise. Plankton tricking SpongeBob and Patrick, as well as not even having to trick Squidward, into fixing up the chum bucket and them just turning it into the Krusty Krab.
Mr. Krabs, you returned from your vacation.
Patchy speaking in rhyme while narrating the short was charming, even if a little cheesy. Very Dr. Seuss. Le Big Switch. I don't have anything to say about this episode. It was just mediocre. I hope I'm not running out of steam this far into the video. And as if to re-motivate me, we have another episode from Season 2, No Free Rides. Starting things off great with the fourth wall break of SpongeBob hitting the French narrator while taking his final driving test. And it's one of the rare times we get to see SpongeBob's parents, at least early on. And there is the very subtle lore drop of Mrs. Puff.
Happy birthday!
Fortunately, there was much more to talk about here than the last entry. Next up is Jellyfish, 20,000 Patties Under the Sea. What a weird decision it was to reuse this for the opening shot, considering the different eras these episodes were produced in. Plankton roasting the family was one of the greatest moments of savagery in media, and I like how Jack M. Crazyfish appears among those throwing rocks at Plankton. The ending was pretty lame though, and I still don't get it to this day. Also, I don't believe SpongeBob is gay, as Stephen Hohenberg's vision was that he was asexual, but this clip is probably the best evidence we have for that.
Bye, Squidward. Bye, Mr. Krabs. Bye, Squidward.
You said bye, Squidward, twice.
I like Squidward.
Now for our first Season 3 episode. Ugh. Which is also the first time period special of the show. Starting off with the Patchy segment, the set design is charming and well crafted, and the segment itself is decently funny. And the cutaway to SpongeBob during Patchy and Potty's argument was good.
SpongeBob, what's wrong?
I don't know, Mr. Krabs, but I've got the strangest feeling that somewhere a pirate and parrot are arguing about me, and the parrot is winning.
Great Season 3 animation too, as that was my favorite look of the show, and it was charming in a prehistoric setting and felt like a slightly more modern SP-129. And the episode wraps up nicely with the When Worlds Collide song. I will admit it wasn't too worthy of being a special and easily the weakest of the season, but still a good episode regardless. And another one from Season 3, The Great Snail Race. I'll stop mentioning it after this because it'll get repetitive, but once again with that beautiful Season 3 style. It really makes every episode from the season just so much better. But sadly, this is another episode with themes of animal cruelty, which knocks it down a few levels. But that doesn't mean there isn't a good amount to like with this story. The running gag is Squidward's last name getting mispronounced. The premise of SpongeBob and Squidward entering their snails into a race was a good one. And Patrick entering a rock into the race and winning was comedy gold and well deserved in comparison to SpongeBob and Squidward. This episode always felt like a classic to me. Plankton mind-controlling Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy was a fun take on a Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode, and stuff like the commercial and Plankton coming up with his plan were great. Squidward pitching the idea of a talent show was good and led to great acts such as Gary's poetry, Plankton's magic act / secret formula scheme, and Pearl's cheer.
Thank you!
There were other great moments like Patrick cracking up at Squidward's joke and Squidward's deadpan delivery after SpongeBob's audition.
No one, not even your parents, would want to see that.
But the true peak of the episode was everyone hating Squidward's act but loving SpongeBob's mopping. Peak classic moment right there. The paper. SpongeBob finding more use in a piece of paper that initially means nothing to Squidward was wholesome and a great prequel to Idiot Box. SpongeBob's design while wearing Squidward's shirt is also great, though this was one of the more forgettable SpongeBob episodes of not only season 1 but the show in general, because it only aired like once a year due to it being paired with the Valentine's Day special. Still a good episode nonetheless. The Krusty Sponge. This episode was a good parody of how big and marketable SpongeBob had become by that point in the show. And Gene Shalit disliking everything about the Krusty Krab but praising SpongeBob was a good way to set this episode into motion. Good episode. It gets my seal of approval and everything, but I do have one question though. Why wasn't the title card background used for the Krusty plate instead? The world may never know. The concept of getting to see everyone's dreams was fun. My favorite ones were Patrick's dream,
Shoot, that was my last quarter.
Mr. Krabs' Moby Dick parody, and Plankton's dream of him as a giant. The only problem I really had was everyone being mad at real world SpongeBob for appearing in their dreams, because just why? But looking past that, it was still a very fun episode.
Does anyone have a quarter?
SpongeBob getting the suds and having his pineapple frozen after leaving his fridge door open was the perfect level of cartoony, and Patrick being SpongeBob's doctor was hysterical. And there were just so many good clips from this episode. I can't play them all for time reasons, but here's a few.
Since when do you have two houses?
Since I ran out of space to put my stuff.
Since when does your house have feet?
This is my mobile home.
Hiya, Sandy.
Now look what you've done, Patrick.
What I've done? Everything was fine until you showed up.
You should be arrested for impersonating a doctor.
Nothing personal, lad. I just can't have you sneezing all over my food.
The way SpongeBob gets cured of his suds was also satisfying as hell. Fun fact, Tom Kenny was sick during the recording of his lines, meaning his portrayal of sick SpongeBob was genuine. Fools in April. This episode is meme heavy and I love it, especially with the scene of SpongeBob pranking Tom.
You what?
Squidward's prank on SpongeBob was mean-spirited as hell, but at least he was condemned for it, and his inability to apologize despite feeling bad was pretty funny.
I guess this means I better tell SpongeBob I'm sorry. Huh? I guess this means I better apologize.
The second episode of the show, and one of the only episodes to feature no dialogue. The lack of dialogue does put more focus on the background music, which is a vibe, and it's just an overall fun short. And I love how it sort of got revamped a season later in Squidville, with the reef blower and all. Now to the season 5 premiere, and a lore-heavy episode, Friend or Foe. Starting off, I usually praise the patchy segments, and will continue to, don't worry, but this one just did not engage me. Fortunately, the actual episode was a hell of a lot more interesting and was actually pretty emotional at times with the backstory and revelation that Mr. Krabs and Plankton used to be friends, and makes me headcanon that deep down, one of the reasons Plankton tries to steal the secret formula despite his constant failures to stay close to Mr. Krabs. Hell, he even kind of says this.
All these years I've been trying to steal your formula, but I was really just trying to steal back our friendship.
But because status quo is king, Plankton double crosses Mr. Krabs and everything goes back to normal.
Oh, that Plankton never learns, does he, kids?
SpongeBob making a new friend out of a bubble in the absence of his other friends was a fun premise and leads to funny moments.
2 hours is long enough. That's it.
Hey, Bubble Buddy, you're finished.
He kept us waiting for a bubble?
And it only gets better when it gets revealed that Bubble Buddy is actually alive. And I love how he returns at a few later points in the series. I liked the introduction to SpongeBob's grandma, but felt that everyone at the Krusty Krab making fun of SpongeBob for something as mundane and wholesome as getting a kiss from your grandma, and coming back at the end just to make fun of him some more, was a little too mean-spirited. Despite the other part of the ending, Grandma SquarePants giving the moral to SpongeBob and the audience of how you don't have to grow up too quickly and can still have some childish elements as an adult was touching. Also, adding Grandma SquarePants' cookies to fictional food I would try given the opportunity.
Look, doubloons!
Don't drop them.
If you know, you know. But seriously, how the fuck did they get away with that? Next up is Blackjack. Here we get introduced to SpongeBob's cousin Blackjack as well as his uncle Captain Blue. Wow, season 5 really liked adding to the SquarePants family tree. We got an episode about Stanley, a special about SpongeBob's ancestor SpongeBuck, and a picture of SpongeBob's Uncle Sherm. Previously established family members also appear like SpongeBob's parents and grandma. As for the plot, I love how it involves SpongeBob thinking his parents are in danger of Blackjack's wrath and growing paranoid of just how much more dangerous he's gotten since the last time they saw each other, only for him to have shrunken since they were kids. Also, it's a shame we've never gotten to see a fight between Blackjack and Plankton.
Squid's day off.
As an animation nerd, this episode is a good example of how it took the show a good second to get the hang of the digital animation that came with season 2. But it was still a fun and chaotic story.
Have you finished those errands? Have you finished those errands? Have you finished those errands?
Dumped. Just a fun yet also sad season 2 experience. I love getting to see how much SpongeBob cares for Gary when he chooses Patrick over him, and the twist at the end of Gary only getting close to Patrick because of the cookie in his pocket. Honestly, I'd do the same.
Gary? I thought what we had was special!
Valentine's Day, another rarity of the show. The plot of SpongeBob giving everyone Valentine's Day presents but saving a big one for Patrick was sweet, and the conflict of the gift getting held up led to some great moments of Patrick being a madman.
I defy you, Heartman! Heart on stick must die! Heart on stick must die!
And visually, this is one of the best looking episodes of season 1 to me, with the pink sky at the beginning and that lovely cell animation, of course. Also, Patrick's heart t-shirt was a great design. Good special. Patrick's smart pants. The idea of Patrick knocking his head off and SpongeBob unknowingly replacing it with brain coral, which turns him smart, was creative. And it works because brain coral is a real kind of coral. Also, SpongeBob and Patrick looking through their memories after growing apart was one of the most emotional moments of the show. How can you call season 4 a bad season when it has moments like this? Though this was the episode, even as a kid, where I first distinguished the difference between pre-movie and post-movie SpongeBob, some parts just felt off. Still doesn't defeat the emotional potency though.
You used me for land development.
That wasn't nice.
I love how they did an episode about the hobby of fishing from the fish's perspective.
I'm ugly and I'm proud. 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 I am ugly and I'm proud. I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Is that what he calls it?
At 118, we have Spy Buddies. This episode was a good parody of spy movies, and the music choices really cement the vibe. And I like how the twist of Mr. Krabs actually being Plankton in disguise and vice versa was foreshadowed at the beginning of the episode. Strange animation error of it going from night to day though. I love it when they give Pearl a big role, and her and SpongeBob make a good team, especially at the end when they acted out her getting fired outside Mr. Krabs' office to set her free from the Krusty Krab. And there were good jokes at the expense of Squidward and SpongeBob.
Rage, fury, irritation, humiliation.
Hey, buddy, you need a ride? I was just on my way to the big doofus convention.
This is humiliating.
The song that was used as background music throughout the episode was such a vibe too, and I'm so glad we now have a clean version of the instrumental. Karate Island. So, this is the episode that was voted as the best episode during the Best Day Ever marathon? Yeah, hard disagree, but I still found quite a bit to like. The setting of Karate Island, the final battle between Sandy and Master Udon, and the revelation that the King of Karate stuff was just a real estate scam is so convoluted, I love it. I also wonder what Squidward's experience on Karate Island was like. SpongeBob moving his stuff into the Krusty Krab was such a good concept, and him getting kicked out for treating the place too much like home, leading to Squidward moving to the Krusty Krab at the end, was the cherry on top.
Squidward!
Now for the season 3 premiere, the algae's always greener. Good what if scenario, but beyond that, this episode is just comedy gold.
So long, shrimp! You think this is funny?
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Well, Mr. Funny Man, is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness! Squidward!
Soiled it! Soiled it! Soiled it!
Good grief, he's naked!
Also, the scene where SpongeBob gives Plankton the Krabby Patties for bun inspection was such eye candy. Like, they combined full animation with paintings and it worked so well in making me want a Krabby Patty. And a big contributor as to why Season 3 is the most visually appealing season to me. And this episode wraps up nicely with Plankton realizing that being Mr. Krabs just isn't cut out for him.
Holographic meatloaf? My favorite!
That's no lady. The setup of Patrick misinterpreting a salesman offering him a vacation as him running him out of town was decent, and the concept of Patrick dressing up as a girl and Mr. Krabs and Squidward simping over him was such a silly idea, and how traumatized they become when they find out it was Patrick the whole time was great.
I think I need to take a shower.
Doing time. This episode had some good moments like Patrick moving one of the seemingly inanimate dots on himself, SpongeBob and Patrick failing to go to jail for robbing a bank, and a moment that only gets more real as I get older.
Coming to bed, honey?
Yes, dear.
But this is another one of those episodes that makes much less sense than the typical SpongeBob episode. Anyway, who wants some chili?
So what's for dinner tonight, Puff Mama? Chili?
Next up is Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. The introduction of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. I love the plot of SpongeBob and Patrick pretty much annoying them out of retirement, but admittedly, this was the weakest Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode of the first 3 seasons. But it still set the stage for all the episodes starring them to come. First off, I like how the action theme from the original cut of the pilot plays as title card music, and SpongeBob overdoing it with the speech when he gets made hall monitor gets me every time.
Why, I would be nothing without Mrs. Puff.
Give me a break.
And when Patrick comes into play with the whole maniac stuff, that's when the episode peaks. Fear of a Krabby Patty, the first episode to come out after the SpongeBob movie, and what a great way to start off the post-movie era. Plankton's plan to make Mr. Krabs run the Krusty Krab for 24 hours to exhaust SpongeBob into telling him the secret formula was probably the best plan he's had up to that point. And despite the character designs being off as hell here, I find them charming and I couldn't imagine this episode without that touch. Thank you, C.H. Greenblatt. I really like this episode. SpongeBob and Patrick fan make a Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy movie after it's revealed that replacement
Actors
will be portraying them for the official movie. Seeing all the chaos unfold with the making of the movie and SpongeBob's crash out after it's revealed Patrick had the lens cap on during filming was perfect. Just a fun episode. Oh, and another Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode. I love how SpongeBob winning the conch signal in a contest was used as the catalyst for SpongeBob getting to spend time with his favorite heroes. And this was the first appearance of the Dirty Bubble, and his defeat was a fun one. SquidBob Tentacle Pants. SpongeBob and Squidward getting merged together after a teleportation experiment goes wrong and trying to adjust will never not be a captivating watch for me. And Squidward's clarinet recital going good because of him being fused with SpongeBob was freaking sweet. Sure, it got ruined at the end with kind of a what the fuck ending, but other than that, this was a good way to keep SpongeBob fresh after the movie. Whale of a Birthday. Nice, a birthday episode. I don't think we've really gotten one of those yet at this point in the show. Mr. Krabs giving SpongeBob his credit card to get Pearl what she wants for her birthday was indirectly sweet, and I love how she got everything she wanted in the end after her history of lame birthdays. Also, Boys Who Cry was such a good one-time band, and I love Squidward's not so good cover of one of their songs.
When my tear ducts give issue, I can't use just any tissue. I need 4-ply, 4-ply, 4-ply when I cry. Huh.
Imitation Krabs. Plankton inventing a robot Mr. Krabs to get the secret formula and only getting foiled by a self-destruct feature was brilliant and makes you wonder if that inspired Dr. Doofenshmirtz's habit of adding self-destruct buttons to his innators. Next up is Tea at the Tree Dome, Sandy's introduction. A little bit of early installment weirdness with the characters looking off even for season 1, but it was the 3rd overall episode, so it's fine. And it has good merits like, I need it! being a line I quote way too much, and Patrick teaching us,
When in doubt, pinky out.
This was one of the cutest SpongeBob episodes. SpongeBob and Patrick adopt a baby clam and take on the role of its mother and father respectively, not to mention the hysterical moments.
That guy got hit in the head with a coconut!
By the way, you forgot your briefcase.
Oh, so this is the thanks I get for working overtime.
Good episode, but don't let that distract you from the fact that Mr. Krabs sold SpongeBob for 62 cents. Now we're breaking into the top 100. First episode to be in the 100 best of the first 5 seasons is Neptune's Spatula. And what a damn good episode this one is. SpongeBob pulling the golden spatula, resulting in the first and only appearance of King Neptune before the first movie. And when SpongeBob and King Neptune compete in the cook-off, I love the clever demonstration of the message quality over quantity, resulting in SpongeBob winning. And I love how this episode is recently referenced in the Timeline Twist-Up special, Sandy's Rocket. Many years ago, I saw a rerun of this episode with a friend who soon after moved away, and I always think of him when coming back to this episode. Also, SpongeBob canonically killed a bunch of people. Dark. Shell of a man. I love the character expansion of getting to meet Mr. Krabs' Navy crew and Mr. Krabs getting awarded the Manly Toughness Trophy for being man enough to come clean about molting his shell while his Navy crew weren't while having their own things to hide. Great episode. Mrs. Puff, you're fired. If I like the Inmates of Summer, you better know I love this. It's like that, but season 4 and with the boating school element. Now on to the season 2 premiere, Your Shoes Untied. The plot was actually kind of standard to me, but what boosts it is the song, Loop-de-Loop by Ween. If that band sounds familiar, they also produced Ocean Man, which was used during the credits of the first SpongeBob movie.
You make a loop-de-loop and pull, and your shoes are looking cool.
As someone who's played multiple claw machines during his over 2 decades of life, those things are rigged as hell, so this episode is nothing short of hilarious to me. Especially when the secret of winning is to quite literally close your eyes and be the crane. Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff were such a sweet pair. Kind of a shame that the writers abandoned that until like season 10.
We're not talking about this or this. We're talking about this.
This episode is a fucking vibe and it all comes down to the music. Stadium Rave and Jellyfish Jam are some of the most iconic jams of the whole show and makes this episode so damn memorable. I also love how despite this being a season 1 episode with cell animation, it actually tested out the digital animation that would start being used the following season with the shot you're seeing now. So, the introduction for Plankton. I love how clear they make it how menacing he is with his score being stock surf rock music. It's kind of a shame how tracks like that got phased out as the show went on. I also love the early installment weirdness of Tom Kenny not having gotten the hang of SpongeBob's laugh yet.
Okay. Enough, lad. It wasn't that funny. Get back to work!
Boating School. Kind of a standard episode actually that really only serves to introduce Mrs. Puff and the concept of boating school into the show. The montage was good though, and Patrick was a joy as usual. Also, this is the introduction of the my leg running gag. Wormy. For years I thought I was a pussy for running in the other room when the butterfly close-up came on as a kid. But then I found out this episode was actually banned in some countries for scaring kids. Guess I was onto something. Ripped Pants. This used to be my favorite episode. I've since grown to see the error of my ways. At least the song is good. The way this episode is structured is great. Mr. Krabs standing by not selling the Krusty Krab until he sees all the money they're offering him. He retires and enjoys it until he runs out of things to do and goes back to the Krusty Krab as an employee where he sees everything the new boss Carl has done to ruin the place and rebels before buying the Krusty Krab back at full price in one of his least stingy displays. I used to sit in the back of class with this one dude and we would always quote The Power Within. He got expelled a few days later. I love the reference to the Telltale Heart. Is this the Krusty Krab?
No, this is Patrick.
Is this the Krusty Krab?
No, this is Patrick.
Is this the Krusty Krab?
No, this is Patrick.
How rude.
I'm not a Krusty Krab.
Patrick, that's the name of the restaurant.
Huh? Fish paste!
Next up is the episode that will round out season 5, Krabs a la mode. And this was a no-brainer when thinking of what the best episode that season is. So much to love here. Mr. Krabs establishing that one of his biggest pet peeves is his thermostat getting messed with, Plankton using this knowledge to freeze the Krusty Krab, and how beautiful the Krusty Krab looks when frozen, and other stuff like the customers ice skating and the hockey team practicing adding to the vibe. And the ending was so good with the ice rink getting turned into an indoor pool. I've had my gripes about season 5, but this episode is genuinely such a classic. Born to be wild. There's a lot to like here. SpongeBob mistakenly thinking a dangerous biker gang known as the Wild Ones are coming to Bikini Bottom, only for them to be revealed as an elderly biker gang known as the Mild Ones. SpongeBob riding the bubble transition and what has to be my favorite fourth wall break of the show, the diet blood joke, another reference to the SpongeBob movie, and the flashbacks to all the time SpongeBob has overreacted. Sandy's Texas song was a good musical number, and all the other Junior Brown tracks made this episode more unique.
A grape fresh from the vine, your ghostliness. A banana peeled to your liking, your incorporealness.
One watermelon.
Bummer vacation. SpongeBob being told to take a vacation but ultimately being unable to stay away from work was an interesting exploration of his character. And stuff like his manic episode add to how little he can roll with the vacation. Fun episode, but I can't help but wonder what the hell went wrong with some of the copies of this episode. They have overly bright washed out colors with no explanation. It's most noticeable on SpongeBob, which only draws attention to it. Nasty Patty. This episode has the perfect use of dark humor. Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob get a visit from the health inspector, to which they make the Nasty Patty for him after they suspect he's a fake inspector who just wants free food.
We've been duped!
Duped!
Bamboozled!
We've been speckledorfed.
That's not even a word, and I agree with you.
After the fake inspector gets caught, they try to hide the real inspector's body after they think he died from eating the Nasty Patty. Despite not really being dead, of course, the fact that SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs believe he is the whole time truly cements this as one of the darkest episodes of the series, and the dull colors of the dark rainy night really add to the gritty tone. SpongeBob's pineapple getting eaten by nematodes was a good conflict. Patrick was hysterical as usual.
Is it time already to ruin Squid's day? SpongeBob, don't start without me!
Where am I gonna live?
Yeah.
Hey, SpongeBob, your house is gone! Oh, spiders! Spiders! Get them off me! Get them off me! Get them off me! Spiders! 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 Get them off me! Get them off me!
The construction montage was also peak.
I wish I lived there!
Really?
No!
And the resolution of SpongeBob's tear combining with the pebble to create a new pineapple is the perfect way to end this story.
Ah, Squidward! Isn't this great? I'm back forever! Forever?
Squilliam returns. Kinda funny how given the ranking order I'm talking about his return episode before his debut episode. I liked how SpongeBob was able to turn the Krusty Krab into a 5-star restaurant by clearing his mind of everything except fine dining.
Fine dining and breathing.
Oh yeah, and Squidward almost won too, except for one crucial thing. SpongeBob forgot his name when asked by Squilliam, which leads to everything falling apart. I guess this was the show's way of tying Squidward and Squilliam after Squidward won in Band Geeks.
Would you get out of here?
What am I getting so worked up about? I'm sure that by tomorrow, this whole ugly mess will be a funny memory.
Alright, I'm gonna head out.
Best frenemies. Mr. Krabs and Plankton teaming up to take down the Kelp Shakes restaurants was such a good story. And I love how they eventually get their hands on a Kelp Shake by Mr. Krabs hesitantly buying one. Also, that other ingredient must have had an element of toxic waste for everyone who drank it to have grown hair. And the ending of Mr. Krabs and Plankton going back to the way things were and having fun while doing it was so cute and a good way to end off this already good episode. And overall, it felt like a prequel to Friend or Foe. Next up is New Student Starfish. I always always found it interesting how much bigger the boating school is in this episode than it usually is. It's a shame how this was only the case here and in one other episode from the same season. I kinda prefer this design of the school actually. I liked how SpongeBob brought Patrick to school with him, though the concept of one of SpongeBob's friends coming to boating school with him did get reused a few times later, with some being good and some being admittedly pretty bad. This episode is also a comedy savant with Big Fat Meanie, 24, 25, which is indeed funnier than 24. I would go on, but you can only get the true scope for how funny it is by watching the episode. SpongeBob and Patrick's fight, which gets them in detention, was also good.
I hate you, Patrick.
I hate you more.
I hate you no matter what.
Yeah, well, I'd hate you even if I didn't hate you.
Patrick, can you shut the fuck up?
The light bulb keeping Roger alive going out, which brings SpongeBob and Patrick back together to save Roger and them both getting good noodle stars for it by Mrs. Puff, was a good wrap-up. Though it is kind of silly how this is more of a standard school episode than a boating school episode. Mrs. Puff even makes a comment about this at the end.
Hey, what'd I miss?
Party Pooper Pants, aka SpongeBob's house party. Patchy's party was fun, and I love how he sent SpongeBob an invitation only for it to get ruined by the physical limitations of life underwater.
Well, might as well throw these in the fire.
As for the actual special, it was fun, especially with the humpback cop playing in the background. But SpongeBob felt a little OCD and no fun for a party host. I feel this special would have worked better with Squidward in that role, but I get it. It's a special of SpongeBob's show. You have to have his namesake. Though I like the ending of SpongeBob's party only going well because he himself wasn't there to ruin it, and the Underwater Sun musical number along with the cute animation to go with it, and some other gems.
Oh, look. It's a picture I took of you the first time I ever came here. Ah, look at you, so young and happy. Where do the years go?
The Lost Mattress. This was a season 4 episode? I always thought this was a season 3 episode. I mean, look at this shot of SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward surprising Mr. Krabs and tell me this doesn't look like it came straight from pre-movie. I mean, change the lighting and it's practically indistinguishable. The plot and execution of said plot also felt like something that came straight from season 3, so it makes you wonder. Now to the highlight of the C tier, the sponge who could fly. Patchy's meltdown after the Lost SpongeBob episode turned out to be just a bunch of cheap walk cycles was easily the best thing to have come from a Patchy segment for me. The story of the special could have been better, though the songs were good and the ending of SpongeBob being able to fly with the help of the jellyfish was satisfying. And visually, I think this is the best looking season 3 episode. You can tell they really wanted this to be the season finale. It didn't end up being though, as 2 episodes were produced after it, but I consider this pretty finale worthy. Also, last year I saw a video essay that gave me a better understanding of this special. Please check it out because he did a good job on it. And that was the C tier. Man, this took forever. Let's move on to the B tier. First episode going into the B tier is Bubble Sand. Credit where credit is due, this episode taught me how to blow a bubble.
First I do this, spin around, stop, double take 3 times, and here we go, pelvic thrust. Woohoo! Woohoo! Oh, stop on your right foot, don't forget it. Then bring it around, down, and a little of this, a little of this,
Next up is Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 3. I love this episode so much. The introduction of Man Ray, the use of the tickle belt along with the music choice of laughter, and just the whole wallet scene.
Aren't you Patrick Star?
Yep.
And this is your ID?
Yep.
I found this ID in this wallet. And if that's the case, this must be your wallet.
That makes sense to me.
Then take it.
It's not my wallet.
I had an accident. Probably the most chaotic and nautically nonsensical episode of the first 3 seasons. The whole gorilla scene still catches me off guard to this day. Just a chill and fun Goo Lagoon episode, and this is easily the best episode to take place primarily at Goo Lagoon. And it gave Larry the Lobster a supporting role, which was nice to see. And of course some good bits.
Just imagine if I were a lifeguard.
Mr. Krabs telling SpongeBob and Patrick about borrowing was a good way to set the story into motion, and the 2 stealing a balloon on National Free Balloon Day was one of the funniest things they've collectively done together. This episode is also home of some of Patrick's funniest moments.
Hey, Punk. You took my only food! Now I'm gonna starve. Liar, liar, plants for hire.
It's pants on fire, Patrick.
Well, you would know. Liar.
The ending of SpongeBob and Patrick confessing to stealing the balloon was the highlight of the episode, though.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Okay, time's up. Now get out.
Squidward leading a strike with SpongeBob and SpongeBob messing everything up was a fun plot, and them getting their jobs back forever after SpongeBob took Squidward's previous speech to heart was a funny yet chaotic way to end the episode.
One eternity later.
Next up is Survival of the Idiots. I swear I love these winter-themed episodes. They really give the background artists and animators the opportunity to go all in on the cozy atmosphere. And I love how the snow technically being water gave SpongeBob and Patrick a good excuse to be in Sandy's tree dome without their water helmets. And once again, there were some good bits from Patrick.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Help wanted. What started it all for SpongeBob. And what a damn great first episode this is, and just a fun episode in general. The plot of SpongeBob wanting a job at the Krusty Krab and getting it by proving himself to be a great fry cook during the anchovy lunch rush will always stick with me. And stuff like Patrick's first lines being Ghost SpongeBob show how good of a character and friend he was early on. Makes it kind of sad to see some of his performances later on. And this episode feels even more 90s than the rest of season 1 with music choices like Tiny Tim's Living in the Sunlight.
Mr. Krabs! Mr. Krabs! Mr. Krabs, come see your new employee!
The doing the sponge song and the chaos that unfolds during it was easily the highlight of this episode. And this was one of my favorite episodes in terms of music and sound editing.
Oh, there you are, dummy. You sure come in handy.
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy.
Barnacle Boy must get autographed.
Karate choppers. Nothing like an action-packed episode of SpongeBob and Sandy doing karate together. And some gems like Tom Kenny as the hot sauce and such.
Thought you could sneak up on me at work, did ya?
And the scene of Sandy standing up for SpongeBob after Mr. Krabs fires him for a mistake was sweet. And the ending was satisfying with Mr. Krabs allowing SpongeBob and Sandy's karate due to it aiding in sandwich making.
I love karate!
I love karate.
I love money, eh?
I hate all of you.
Next is jellyfishing. For real this time.
Firmly grasp it in your hand. Firmly grasp it. Firmly grasp it!
Scaredy Pants. This episode, along with its sister episode, are the most nostalgic episodes of season 1 for me for some reason, and definitely the most unique of the first season outside the pilot. I loved Patrick shaving SpongeBob's head to be round for his ghost costume, and the twist of him actually having shaved off too much of his head, exposing his brain and successfully scaring everyone, including the Flying Dutchman himself.
Don't worry, it grows back.
Procrastination. Really the most relatable episode to me right now, as I've been procrastinating this ranking due to burnout. The pure trippiness of this episode after a certain point due to SpongeBob falling asleep while writing his essay was definitely one of the better SpongeBob moments that could reasonably be considered a fever dream. And I've always found it interesting how this is one of the only SpongeBob episodes that have a fully animated deleted scene, even though it's been restored to reruns in recent years. Despite the transformation scene scaring me as a kid, I always loved this episode. Guess the rarity of this being a Halloween episode really boosted it for me.
He took off his pants.
I'll give him a week.
I'll give him 11 minutes.
I always love when characters reference the runtime. This episode was fun. Literally.
Rev up those fryers, cause I am sure hungry for one. Help! Help!
My leg! Can't you see we're closed?
I've never been to a convention before, but this episode really makes me want to go to one. And this episode had great humor, like Patrick repeatedly touching stuff, SpongeBob's loser call, and SpongeBob fanboying over Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello, loser.
Breaking into the top 50, we have Dunces and Dragons. Definitely my favorite time period special of the show. I love the medieval score and the costumes of SpongeBob, Patrick, and all the ancestors. Locations like King Krabs' castle and stuff like the yellow sky really add to the medieval atmosphere and make this my favorite season 4 episode visually. Now on to everyone's favorite Jaws parody. Clams. Mr. Krabs' gang his millionth dollar and taking SpongeBob and Squidward on a fishing trip was sweet, and him going insane much to the concern of SpongeBob and Squidward after losing his millionth dollar to the clam was just a fun watch. Also, Mr. Krabs' ship being called the SS Cheapskate was perfect on a comedic level. You know, it's a damn shame that we never got to see the embarrassing photo of SpongeBob at the Christmas party. But my favorite interpretation of what could be is this. I just find it way too funny that I consider it canon. I will always love SpongeBob and Squidward battling it out for the Employee of the Month award, only getting more deranged and sleep deprived as their battle continues. Snowball effect. I love everything about this episode. SpongeBob and Patrick get into a snowball fight to which Squidward eventually joins and gets too into it by the time SpongeBob and Patrick have already gone inside. Winter-themed episodes are so great and used sparingly enough to feel like a treat. And I love a good SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward story. They got a little oversaturated as the season number increased, but early on, I got no complaints. And speaking of SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward stories, we have Naughty Nautical Neighbors at 45. Squidward ruining SpongeBob and Patrick's bubble communication, turning them against each other, and being forced to fix what he started after they keep going to him was a nice straightforward story and one of the best episodes of SpongeBob's earliest era. Opposite day. Pickles. Bubble Bass made a great antagonist. This was his only major role in the early seasons, but he sure made an impact.
I'll take a double triple bossy deluxe on a raft, 4x4 animal style, extra shingles with a shimmy and a squeeze, light axle grease, make it cry, burn it and let it swim.
We serve food here, sir.
And I love how good of a father figure Mr. Krabs was as SpongeBob this episode and helping him get his confidence back. Dying for Pie. Another emotion-heavy episode. It was sweet to see how much Squidward truly cares about SpongeBob when he believes he ate the pie bomb. The sunset scene is definitely within the top 10 saddest moments of the show.
You know, if I were to die right now in some sort of fiery explosion due to the carelessness of a friend, well, that'd just be okay.
It was nice to see Squidward move to Tentacle Acres and live the life he's always wanted, only for it to get old and formulaic after a while, to which he realizes that he misses the shenanigans of SpongeBob and Patrick. Another really sweet episode, actually. This episode was badass with SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Sandy becoming superheroes to help Mermaid Man after Barnacle Boy joins Man Ray in the dirty bubble on the dark side.
Wanna see me run to that mountain and back? You wanna see me do it again?
Krakatoa!
I can finally touch my toes!
Does this outfit make me look fat?
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy making up at the end was a really touching moment and hits harder after Ernest Borgnine and Tim Conway have both passed. This was definitely the best Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode.
Out of my way! Out of my way! Can't you see he's gonna kick my butt?
I'm Chris McLean.
My Pretty Seahorse. Another really cute episode, and we finally get to see a seahorse character on the show. Definitely one of my favorite rewatches. Rock Bottom. I really want a kelp nougat crunch. Josiah should say that. No weenies allowed. Another classic. SpongeBob continuously trying to get into the salty spittoon only to keep getting redirected over to Weenie Hut Jr.'s. And the robot that works there even helping him by giving him the idea to fake a fight with Patrick to get in, which works in the funniest way it could have, with Patrick kicking his own ass, was great. And SpongeBob going inside and immediately getting injured by slipping on an ice cube was even funnier. I am glad we eventually got to see the inside of the salty spittoon 10 seasons later. Felt like a cartoon mystery gang revealed. Next up is Christmas Who, aka the SpongeBob Christmas Special. How fitting that my favorite winter themed episode of the first 5 seasons is a direct Christmas special. So much to love here. The music, the introduction of Patchy and Potty, Sandy telling SpongeBob about Christmas and him spraying it to the town, and Squidward pretending to be Santa to cheer SpongeBob up after he was nice enough to give him a driftwood clarinet. I definitely make sure to rewatch this special every year around Christmas. Pressure. This is my friend Luke's favorite episode, and I can't say I blame him. At first it seems like it's going to be a SpongeBob and Sandy competing against each other episode, and while that would have been fine, I'm glad they got the rest of the main cast involved, resulting in great moments.
Hey, we are not chicken. My popcorn!
It really peaks when they all go up on land and become live action. Just a fun and experimental episode.
What?
Plankton's Army. Plankton's plan to unite his family to get the secret formula was a good one, and I will never not find it funny how Plankton comes from a family of rednecks despite being an evil scientist. Also good jokes.
You and what army, Bug?
What army? What army? Look around you, Krabs!
You planted grass?
And another Plankton-centric episode. Kind of. Welcome to the Chum Bucket. The musical number of This Girl's Not at Home was my favorite part of the episode, and I love how Plankton gives SpongeBob back to Mr. Krabs after he realizes SpongeBob's loyalty to him can't be broken even after putting his brain in a robot. And at the highlight of the B tier is Pranks a Lot, the last pre-movie episode and what could have been the last episode ever produced. And looking at it through that lens, it really felt like going out with a bang, as they've never really done anything like this before. SpongeBob and Patrick going to a prank shop and getting their hands on invisible spray only to turn themselves invisible after a fight, to which they prank everyone by pretending to be ghosts, was a good and experimental story. Just speculation, but I think the idea to make them invisible for half the runtime was their clever way to not have to animate them too much for this at the time final story, and I respect the hell out of them for that move. I'm glad SpongeBob continued after this, as we've gotten many more good episodes since. And that concludes the B tier. Going into the A tier, we have Just One Bite. Oh, the lack of self-control I would have if I was at that patty vault.
It'll go right to your thighs.
My thighs?
And then you blow up.
Also, rare SpongeBob media. This scene was removed from the episode in 2002 and hasn't re-aired with it intact since. I love this episode so much. This episode is particularly hilarious. Sandy, SpongeBob, and the worm. Sandy vowing to take down the Alaskan bullworm after it steals her tail and SpongeBob not wanting her to was a great story to end off season 2. Also, good jokes as per usual with this season.
We should take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else!
That idea may just be crazy enough to get us all killed!
And it's even funnier when they all go through with it anyway. The Fry Cook Games. SpongeBob and Patrick competing against each other and placing Mr. Krabs and Plankton in the Fry Cook Games, and the food-based gags were such a fun watch. I love the ending where they get buff and wrestle each other before putting it aside when it's revealed their underwear is each other's colors.
You do care.
SpongeBob opening his own stand for Pretty Patties, which becomes more popular than the Krusty Krab to the point where Mr. Krabs gives him ownership of the Krusty Krab, was a sweet story. Also, I'd love to try a Pretty Patty.
Your dumb Pretty Patties turned my face purple!
Never mind. Krusty Towers, where we shall never deny a guest, even the most ridiculous request. Mr. Krabs turning the Krusty Krab into a hotel is one of the most fun Krusty Krab episodes and really adds to my love for season 4. And Squidward getting fed up with taking care of Patrick and re-entering the Krusty Towers as a guest to piss off Mr. Krabs was hysterical. Even the scene of Gross Out, which I couldn't see working in most scenarios, was fucking hilarious.
I'd like a Krabby Patty with cheese, toenail clippings, and nose hairs.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Well, you got your stinky sandwich. Now eat it.
Oh, I'm not gonna eat this. You are.
What? You're out of your mind if you think I'm gonna eat that.
That's not really a Krabby Patty with cheese, toenails, and nose hair.
SpongeBob!
Sorry, Mr. Krabs. We were all out of cheese.
Hooray!
It's a shame though that we never got a sequel episode where Mr. Krabs opened a Krusty hospital. Can you spare a dime? Squidward quitting his job after being falsely accused of stealing Mr. Krabs' dime and going homeless was a good setup for him living with SpongeBob. And the older I get, the more I love the role reversal of Squidward being the one annoying SpongeBob instead of vice versa. Also, this episode has the best crash out moments.
Show me your tentacles. What? I want to see empty suction cups.
Here, see him. SpongeBob, the remote control's broken. Get over here and fix it.
I got a better idea. Why don't I call someone whose job it is to fix it? You know why? Because when I need a job done, I get someone with a job to do that job. Listen, you crustaceous cheapskate. Squidward's been living at my house driving me crazy, and you're not gonna hire him back all because of a stupid dime! What's that?
Squidward dreaming of what he can accomplish before he becomes homeless was also a fun little gag. This episode is iconic. The soda drink hat only being valuable when it wasn't in Mr. Krabs' possession was a great drive for the plot, and seeing SpongeBob innocently enjoying it was cute. Also, great jokes like the floating shopping list, Smitty, Werbin, Jaegerman, Jensen actually existing, and the famous
Here lie Squidward's hopes and dreams. What a baby.
Later.
What a baby.
Next up is Frankendoodle. Finally, I get to talk about the Doodle Bob episode. As something of an artist myself, I love how this plot gets set into action by an artist at sea dropping his pencil into Bikini Bottom. And I love how menacing and dangerous Doodle Bob is compared to SpongeBob and the defeat of SpongeBob trapping him in a book, which gives him a happy ending. I mean, look at that smile. It also reminds me of a similar situation I once found myself in, but fortunately I got that under control.
Me habba bobble.
Pizza delivery. Mr. Krabs sending SpongeBob and Squidward to deliver the Krusty Krab pizza and the comedy of events that unfold make this one of the best watches of the series. That and the contrasting attitudes that come from the situation. Squidward not giving a fuck and just wanting to eat the pizza, and SpongeBob's devotion to delivering it to the customer. The best part of the episode is when SpongeBob finally delivers the pizza to the customer, only for him to be a dick about not getting a drink, making SpongeBob cry and causing Squidward to stand up for SpongeBob by delivering the pizza physically. That was genuinely the best performance of Squidward and would easily be the best episode of season 1 if not for an upcoming entry. Also, can we all take a second to jam out to the Krusty Krab pizza song?
Krusty Krab, yeah, pizza is the pizza, yeah, for you and me.
Shanghaied. This episode has always been particularly interesting to me in terms of not knowing if I'd call this an episode or special. On one hand, the runtime is extended and Patchy and Potty are featured, but on the other, it has a sister episode. Anyways, I like the plot of the Flying Dutchman forcing SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward to become part of his crew, and after pretty much throwing out Squidward and realizing SpongeBob and Patrick are liabilities, he decides to eat them, causing them to escape through the perfume department. Iconic bit. And that leads us to why I most remember the special for, the endings. I thought they were all fun in their own ways, but SpongeBob's ending was clearly designed to be the best one. Early SpongeBob was truly something else, as they haven't done a multiple endings event since. SpongeBob meets the Strangler. This episode is stupid in the best way. SpongeBob reports the Tattletale Strangler to the police for littering, a criminal who's bent on strangling whoever turns him in. The Strangler putting on a fake mustache to be SpongeBob's bodyguard to get his revenge, only for SpongeBob's stupidity to frustrate and hurt him was great.
Sure! With these spiky cleats, anything is possible.
Cleats?
And SpongeBob driving him so insane that he willingly goes to jail just to get away from him was the perfect ending. Though I can't help but subscribe to the theory that SpongeBob knew his bodyguard was the Strangler the whole time. He even lets it slip.
Thanks.
Don't mention it, Strangler. I mean bodyguard.
Credit to this episode as well for having a better party than the house party episode and taking place on SpongeBob's birthday apparently. I love how this episode takes place primarily in Mr. Krabs' living room. I love a unique setting change. Patrick did heavy lifting in the comedy department too.
Do you think we should take this stuff off the walls?
No way, SpongeBob. We're not getting paid to move stuff.
Patrick, we're not getting paid at all.
Well, that's what I said. We're not getting paid, and that's final. Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! Patrick, shut the fuck up!
Well, that was a ripoff.
Bye!
barnacles! What could be worse than a giant paint bubble?
Oh, I know. 2 giant paint bubbles. Wait, SpongeBob. We're not cavemen. We have technology.
It didn't work.
The twist of the paint actually coming off with spit was solid, and also backfired on Mr. Krabs for messing with SpongeBob and Patrick.
Ah, crud. I really gotta learn to say it, not spray it.
Next, we have my favorite episode of Season 1, SB129. Easily my favorite title card of the series too. Squidward getting frozen while hiding from SpongeBob and Patrick, ending up in the future and meeting the robot descendants of them, before going to the past and meeting the meme himself, Caveman SpongeBob, as well as Caveman Patrick, was perfect. The alone bit after Squidward breaks the time machine was also great.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
This is my cousin's favorite episode, and I have to say he's got great taste in SpongeBob episodes. Club SpongeBob. Squidward getting stranded in the forest with SpongeBob and Patrick was great.
Why must every 11 minutes of my life be filled with misery? Why?
SpongeBob and Patrick following the advice of the Magic Conch Show to do nothing and Squidward mocking it, only to get denied food by it when picnic supplies fall out of the sky, was hysterical and what I most remember the episode for.
Could I have something to eat?
No.
Could I have something to eat?
No.
Could I have something to eat?
No.
Can't you say anything else but no?
Try asking again.
Can I have something to eat?
No.
Will you two shut up? SpongeBob?
Ending off the A tier, we have Krabby Land. I know some people don't think too much of this episode, and I get it. The story is a little weak in some places, but I definitely feel the summery vibe with this episode, which boosted for me. Mr. Krabs scamming the kids with Krabby the Clown and getting his comeuppance for it was also hilarious.
Let me go! I gotta get some of that green stuff! No! Not that green stuff! No!
So, I've gone over 184 episodes at this point. Few bad, some mediocre, and many good. But now we're down to the top 12. These 12 episodes are, in my opinion, the best of the show. At the number 12 spot, we have Wishing You Well. I really feel the magic with this episode, no pun intended. Mr. Krabs opening a wishing well after realizing the money-making opportunity was fun and unique, and him sending SpongeBob down into the well where Patrick eventually joins and them eventually finding the magic while digging was wholesome. The Down the Well song was also one of, if not my favorite song from the whole show. Yes, I love it that much. Squidward falling down there too also led to some peak moments.
If you guys stand so close, you're making me claustrophobic.
What does claustrophobic mean?
It means he's afraid of Santa Claus.
No, it doesn't.
Ho, ho, ho!
It's not working, Patrick.
Darn.
Squidward, you're standing on my foot.
Oops. Oh, sorry, SpongeBob.
And you got your elbow in my ribs.
Ew.
And stop stepping in my potato salad.
Stop pushing me, Patrick.
You mean like this?
No, like this. I told you I am claustrophobic.
Nice try, Squidward, but there's no Santa Claus here.
Patrick!
The ending where everyone's wishes come true and Mr. Krabs being proven wrong for not believing in magic was funny.
Oh, where am I? What's going on here? Uh-oh. I don't believe in magic. I don't believe in magic. I don't believe in magic. Oh, no!
Squidward's high-budget vision for the Krusty Krab commercial was a nice way to begin the episode, and the gag of the second Krusty Krab is even funnier as this episode was produced before the SpongeBob movie. As for the commercial, it was funny with SpongeBob getting excited over his brief appearances where his face wasn't even visible. It's reminiscent of that gag from Monsters Inc. SpongeBob having his fame go to his head after getting mistaken for bran flakes by an old man and having his name recognized from his name tag, leading to him quitting his job, was perfectly funny and naive of SpongeBob. The ending of SpongeBob performing for the customers and finding his calling, as Mr. Krabs said it, was a satisfying wrap-up. SpongeBob's Striped Swear song was also easily the funniest song of the show. Midlife Crustacean. Mr. Krabs feeling old was a good drive for an episode, and it was nice to see a Mr. Krabs-centric episode not be about his desire for money. Mr. Krabs hanging out with SpongeBob and Patrick to feel young again, only to realize how lame their activities are, was funny.
Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Are you feeling it? You feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? After thou feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
Can you feel it, Mr. Krabs? Can you feel it, Mr. Krabs?
I'm feeling like a total barnacle head!
The ending was hilarious, with the three going on a panty raid, only for it to be revealed that they raided Mr. Krabs' mom's house, to which he gets grounded, thus granting him his wish of feeling young again. The only downside of this episode is that it was a victim of circumstance. After over 15 years of this episode airing with no problems, it suddenly got banned. I like the introduction for Squilliam and his role of being a motivation for Squidward to assemble a band together. And I can't pass by this episode without shining a spotlight on its many great moments.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
Kicking? Oh, I want to do some kicking!
Why, you?
Whoever's the owner of the white sedan, you left your lights on.
People talk loud when they want to act smart, right?
Correct!
Okay, new theory. Maybe we should play so quietly no one can hear us.
What did you say, punk? Big, meaty claws!
SpongeBob's speech that brings everyone together to make Squidward proud after he quits was one of the best moments of SpongeBob's character. And Squidward taking the win over Squilliam with the musical number of Sweet Victory was one of the most satisfying endings of SpongeBob ever. Please don't take my head off for putting this commonly agreed best episode of SpongeBob at number 9. I very much love this episode so much. I just simply like 8 episodes more than it. Coming in at number 8 is Krusty Krab training video. The different title card opening was a neat touch. As a kid on the internet in 2012, this was the episode I always saw mashed up into YouTube poops. And given its contents, I can definitely see why.
As you can see by this graph, the story of the Krusty Krab is a story of one man's hard work, perseverance, vision, determination, and sweat. But mostly his sweat. Sounds like a lot of hoopla to make over a little Krabby Patty, right? Wrong! Inattentive, impatient, a glazed look in the eyes. Look carefully at the "I really wish I weren't here right now" button. People order our patties.
Ah, poop!
Do you think he's going to order A, a sofa, B, an expensive haircut, or C, a patty?
One patty, please.
Ah, poop! Remember, no employee wants to be a Squidward.
Mr. Krabs, can I have a raise?
No. I'll have,
I also liked other stuff like Patrick interacting with the narration voice, the lore of the Krusty Krab originally being a bankrupt retirement home, and Plankton's sped up lines actually being from Plankton's army. Credit to this episode as well for revealing the secret formula.
Are you ready? Are you sure? Okay, the secret formula is...
Gotcha, bitch!
Next is New Leaf. Plankton remodeling the Chum Bucket to be a gift shop and Mr. Krabs not buying it to the point where he destroys the shop was a nice plot setup. But the reason I put it this high up is because of the scene of Mr. Krabs apologizing to Plankton for the way he acted and them hanging out together like the friends they used to be. It was really some of the most beautiful and wholesome moments of the show for me. And the twist of Plankton and Mr. Krabs having their own plans all along was a funny way to reset the status quo and doesn't undermine the emotional potency of the apology scene and them hanging out together. This really was the best episode to focus on Mr. Krabs and Plankton's frenemy ship. I like the noir vibe of the beginning scene with SpongeBob at the diner on a rainy day. The story of SpongeBob losing his identity when he lost his name tag only for his pants to have been on backwards the whole time was a simple, funny, and effective story. And I liked how SpongeBob's pants being on backwards was foreshadowed the whole time through the subtle design detail of his collar not being there. And there were many funny moments like SpongeBob hyperventilating over losing his name tag and Patrick messing up his greeting while helping SpongeBob retrace his steps.
Have you forgotten what we're looking for knee-deep in yesterday's top 40 songs?
Yes.
I also like how this episode popularized the disappointment sound. Breaking into the top 5 is Chocolate with Nuts. This is probably the most slice of life story from the show. SpongeBob and Patrick gained the idea to become entrepreneurial chocolate bar salesmen to live fancy after reading Squidward's magazine was fun and simple. But the journey is what made this episode one of the best. The chocolate guy.
Chocolate!
All the scenes of the con man add to the charm of this episode. The scene of Mary and her mother was hilarious.
Chocolate. I remember when they first invented chocolate. Sweet, sweet chocolate. I always hated it.
And just some of those dialogue jokes that catch you off guard.
We need a new approach, a new tactic.
I got it. Let's get naked.
No, let's save that for when we're selling real estate.
And the chocolate guy buying all the chocolate and helping SpongeBob and Patrick reach their goal of fancy living was a satisfying ending.
So, how long have you two ladies known each other?
What? What did he say?
Graveyard Shift. I love the plot of Mr. Krabs keeping the Krusty Krab open for 24 hours. It's very similar to a later episode, Fear of a Krabby Patty, but with focus being put on the night shift rather than a plan led by Plankton. And this one definitely had the comedic edge.
Here, please hit me as hard as you can.
Squidward, I'm working in the kitchen. At night.
Don't hold back. Who wants a Krabby Patty at 3 in the morning?
Oh boy, 3 a.m.
But the peak of this episode was Squidward telling SpongeBob the story of the hash-slinging slasher to scare him. And the story seemingly coming true with the flickering lights, the phone call, and the hash-slinging slasher arriving at the Krusty Krab. Only for a job applicant to have been responsible for the latter two and the iconic Nosferatu to deliver the twist of the flickering lights.
Nosferatu!
Artist unknown. As someone who's always had an interest in art and project creation, this episode really speaks to me. Definitely loud enough to be put in the top 3. First off, this episode had some of the best dialogue exchanges between SpongeBob and Squidward.
This is an art class. It's heaven.
Yeah. Grab a little piece of heaven and let's get on with it. If I'm lucky, some of Mr. Tentacle's talent may rub off on me.
If I'm lucky, Mr. Talent will rub his tentacles on my art.
Whatever.
And what I most love the episode for? It did a perfect job at capturing the concept of creative freedom, with SpongeBob creating wonderful art at the beginning thanks to his enthusiasm and outside-the-box method, while Squidward does a consistently lousy job while sticking to a rulebook. And I love the eventual switch-up of SpongeBob's art turning lousy after following the rulebook due to Squidward telling him he'll never amount to anything, and Squidward creating a sculpture even better than SpongeBob's earlier one due to him ditching the rulebook and going all out. Speaking of Squidward's sculpture, his crash out scene of him creating it was perfect. Now that is art. At the number 2 spot, we have the camping episode. I love it when episodes like this kick off with Squidward playing into SpongeBob and Patrick's adventures. In this case, taking SpongeBob's Have Fun Inside as a challenge without admitting he wants to go camping with them. There were so many moments of peak comedy, like Squidward struggling to put his tent together.
Write that down, write that down!
SpongeBob and Patrick talking like astronauts while eating marshmallows, and the scene of Patrick burning his marshmallows and spitting them at Squidward.
Okay, besides spitting molten foodstuffs at me, what else do you do for fun?
The Campfire Song is a great song and a worthy contender for the best song of the show. I owe it to Dan Palvenmeyer, who went on to create Phineas and Ferb.
Nah, wasn't that relaxing?
No!
The element of sea bears is what truly makes this episode as great as it is.
I married a sea bear. Sea bears and fairy tales are real. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Well, maybe it is stupid, but it's also dumb.
And Squidward calling bullshit by doing all the things that attract a sea bear only for it to backfire on him when he gets mauled by one was peak karma. And him getting saved by joining SpongeBob and Patrick's anti-sea bear circle, which works, was the perfect ending to a perfect episode. This truly was a camping episode to remember for a lifetime and my personal favorite SpongeBob experience.
This circle would never hold back a sea rhinoceros.
What attracts them?
The sound of a sea bear attack.
Good thing we're all wearing our anti-sea rhinoceros undergarments. Right, Squidward?
I also like how this episode was referenced on Family Guy. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The whole video is built up to this moment. The best episode of SpongeBob, in my opinion, is... Have you seen this snail? This is the first SpongeBob episode I remember watching as a kid and the one that always causes me to get the most emotional. While the camping episode is my favorite SpongeBob experience, this is my favorite emotional experience. Gary running away due to SpongeBob neglecting to feed him while getting overly invested in a challenge was a great drive for a special, and definitely better than a lot of the pre-movie specials even. And SpongeBob regretting his mistake of neglecting Gary and feeling destroyed about it shows how much he loves Gary and was my personal favorite display of his character. Gary being all alone while running away added to the emotions I felt this episode. As someone who has cats, I couldn't imagine them being all alone out there. Gary's goodbye letter to SpongeBob made me tear up, and Gary Come Home was the most sad song of the series. The scene of Gary finding out SpongeBob was looking for him really got me in the feels too. And the ending scene of SpongeBob wishing he could tell Gary how much he loves him before reuniting with him was the perfect bow on this emotion-heavy special. This episode also had a great air of mystery, with Gary getting adopted by an old lady and it being implied that she fattened up all her previous snails to eat them. And this episode thankfully had a decent dose of comedy to keep me from getting too sad.
Many years ago, I took that challenge.
Really? What happened?
I won, but then I lost the trophy they sent me. Office products falling from the sky!
The perfect mix of emotional moments, comedy, and mystery make this my favorite episode, and is a big reason as to why I have to disagree whenever someone says SpongeBob should have ended with the first movie. Not that really matters, but I love how a scene from this special was used in the 2007 Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. More specifically, the scene of SpongeBob interacting with Mr. Krabs as Dave is ranting about the Chipmunks getting him fired. I don't know, someone complaining about getting fired as Mr. Krabs? A character who has the ability to fire people is on the TV is right up my sense of humor, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't even intentional. But that concludes my episode ranking. So, that was my episode ranking from worst to best of the first 5 seasons of SpongeBob. It took a while, but I finally did it. Now, as a bonus, I might as well rank the seasons as well. At the number 5 spot, we have Season 5. Now, I wouldn't call Season 5 a bad season, just an extremely mediocre and very odd season. A lot of episodes invoke that what the fuck were they going for feeling, but while it had its share of both good and bad episodes, the season had more episodes than ever that were just generic and didn't have much to really write home about, and a lot of shorts for some reason. The character models also started showing their stiffness, which the following couple of seasons would only amplify. At number 4 is Season 1. Now don't get me wrong, I love Season 1. Visually, the designs and cell animation give that early installment charm, and I love how this season has the chillest vibe. But Seasons 2, 3, and a good extent of 4 define how I view the show, and a lot of why I love those seasons 4 wasn't formed yet, such as the humor and writing style. That doesn't defeat the fact that it gave us some of the best episodes of the show and has a unique distinction of being the only season to have been produced and aired in the 90s. At number 3, we have Season 2. Now this is where I feel SpongeBob truly became SpongeBob. The creativity got turned way up, the digital animation kicked in, and the show in general became funnier and more quotable. Episodes like Big Pink Loser, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 3, Life of Crime, Pressure, Sailor Mouth. These episodes are some of the funniest the show got, and the only season that's toe-to-toe with it in the comedy comedy department is season 3. Just a great season. Now the next one is definitely a product of my bias rather than consensus. My second favorite season is season 4. Now I get that this season was very different from the ones that came before it, and that key creators like Steven Hohenberg weren't as heavily involved with the production of this season, thus causing it to gradually descend in quality, resulting in some of the worst episodes up to that point. But for everything it got wrong, it still got a lot more right. There were still so many great episodes that wouldn't feel out of place in earlier seasons, and even holds my favorite episode. So for that, I give it a great portion of my respect. That reference would have worked better if Friend or Foe wasn't the first episode of Season 5. This season also looks great in terms of art style and animation, as it felt like an upgrade Season 3, and it was before the characters got too on model with Season 5. It was also produced right off the back of the first SpongeBob movie, therefore it has a lot of that in its DNA too. And while Season 3 was my favorite look for the show, Season 4 is an easy second for me. Now, using the process of elimination, you already know what I'm about to say. My favorite season of SpongeBob is Season 3. Classic after classic, memorable jokes, characters, and stories in nearly every episode. What can I say about this season that hasn't been said by many reviewers before me? The worst episodes from this season are just weak, and the best are some of the best episodes to come from television, and I mean that with every fiber of my being. And that is where I'll leave my discussion of SpongeBob unless I decide to rank season 6, which I'm not promising, or make an individual episode review. But yeah, I know this is a really long watch, so if you made it to the end, I truly do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and I also encourage you to share your opinions of episodes in the comments. After talking about mine for over an hour, I would love to hear yours. But until next time, this has been Mr. Titan. Have a good day.